everyone, and welcome to the Law of Attraction 2.0, Spiritual Straight Talk with G.P. Walsh and myself, Karen Scarpula. Tonight's guest is Christy Whitman, author and inspirational speaker. We will be discussing how to apply all the universal laws in order to create more freedom, joy, and abundance. Before we get started, I'd like to share with you some background information about Christy. She's a New York Times bestselling author of Taming Your Alpha Bitch, How to Be Fierce and Feminine and Get Everything You Want. I absolutely love that title, Christy.
Thank you.
That is like the most awesome title ever. She is CEO and founder of the Quantum Success Coaching Academy, a 12-month-long Law of Attraction coaching certification program, and she's also the creator of the Enlightened Kid program. She's helped thousands of women and men around the world achieve their goals through her empowerment seminars, speeches, and coaching sessions and products. Christy's life-changing message reaches over 100,000 people a month. That's just amazing, Christy.
Thank you.
Well, we'd like to welcome you to the show, Christy. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone, if you want to ask a question, please press *6, and I'll be alerted that you have a question, and I'll get to you as quickly as possible. So, I'd like to welcome Christy to the show, and I know you have some things you'd like to share with us about the Law of Attraction.
We call this show the Law of Attraction 2.0, which is a term I coined because I really wanted to kind of raise the bar, just raise the level of the conversation, which is why I'm so delighted to have Christy here, because she has such depth around the subject. And it's that kind of depth of character and experience that I look for when I'm looking for people to raise the whole level of conversation. Something I love to point out, and I think Christy even mentions it, it's a law that you have to know all the laws about, that when the Wright brothers made their first flight in 1903, it was after years and years of experimentation and trying all sorts of different things and learning the laws of aerodynamics well enough that they could actually get the plane to fly. And people don't realize that the flight of the first powered flight done by the Wright brothers went 120 feet. It went 12 feet in the air, and it went 20 miles an hour. That's not even the length of a 747, and it would not have even gotten over its wing had that been today. There was a great moment, it was a great triumph. Everybody, they drank a lot of beer that night. But the reality is it was another 3 years after that they actually had a plane that could do something that was actually worth anything. They could go actually high enough, far enough, and fast enough to carry something to make it useful. Not to mention, be able to sit in it standing up, because they laid down in it at first, and you turned it by leaning one direction or the other. There was an enormous amount of stuff that had to happen, even though Bernoulli had discovered the Bernoulli principle that made it possible to fly like 150 years earlier. So, when people try to do something with the law of attraction and it doesn't work right away, and they just kind of give up or say it doesn't work, they really have to understand that this is a way of life. It's a completely different perspective of life. And it's a completely different way of being in relationship with life. I love to just call it the Tao. It is the way things are. And as you learn how the laws behave, you stop fighting them and start working with them, more like a martial artist would, or a feng shui expert would, because they're working with the natural flow of energy. And that, to me, is where I want to see this conversation about the law of attraction go, which is why I called it 2.0, because I wanted to give it a serious upgrade and let it get some attention. That's all I got to say for tonight.
Well, amen, brother.
Christy, I think that's why I was so excited to have you as a guest, because you really take the conversation deeper. You're really unlike any other law of attraction teachers out there, because you really believe you have to clear and go deeper. And And I want you to share a little bit about your philosophy and the protocol that you advocate for that.
Absolutely, and thank you for that. And I just want to say this to you too. You're absolutely right. It's such a different perception of life. It's a different relationship with life. It's literally knowing like what the rules are and then how to navigate through it. And I love what you're saying too, is that, people say, well, law of attraction doesn't work. And it's like, that's like saying gravity doesn't work. It's like, we don't have to sit here in our chairs and think of gravity, but it's still working. And, someone that is never aware before in their life of law of attraction, they get wind of it, try it for a couple minutes. Their $1 million that they set the intention to create when they're $50,000 in debt didn't happen overnight. Now law of attraction doesn't work. And, it's really, people don't understand that there's so much more, and you said depth, and that's a perfect word for this, is because, we are energetic, vibratory beings. We literally are emanating energy from every aspect of our lives, from our thoughts to our feelings to our emotions to the behaviors that we do to the things that we say, the beliefs that we have. It all carries a vibration, and everything in the universe being energy and everything carrying a vibration. The other thing that we're sending energy out to is also a vibratory thing, whether it's money, another person, career, success, abundance, whatever it is. It's an energetic relationship that we have. So when we're throwing out negativity or fear or just, total doubt or just really feeling sad about something that's, a lower level vibration, that thing that is our point of attraction will then have a relationship with us and can only send us back the same vibration we're giving out. So everything really begins and ends with us as the energy generator. And when we can start deliberately getting in alignment with, knowing what we want and then getting into that energetic feeling place of it, that's when things start to shift. And, I've been practicing universal laws for 17, 18 years. And there's still, every single day of my life, things that show up that's either wanted or unwanted. And I can either focus every situation has things that probably aren't, quote unquote perfect. And every situation has everything that is just really something to appreciate and show gratitude for. And it's really a perspective, and it is a way of life. And it is really choosing, how am I mentally going to focus my energy on this thing that's showing up? And even when we do have contrast that shows up, something that's not wanted, do we stay stuck in the I don't want this and complain about it and, talk to our friends and family about it and really, just dissect and analyze till we're blue in the face what this problem is? Or do we move in the direction of what's the solution? And, that's really the big difference in my life, because I didn't come with this information. I didn't grow up knowing about universal laws, and I was a very, very negative person when I actually found the laws and really got so tired of my life and what I was manifesting that I just went, okay, show me something different. And that's when I was introduced to the universal laws, and I've been applying them every day for my whole, last 17, 18 years, and my life is literally just, I could have dreamt back then that I would have had the kind of life that I have now. It's remarkable. And it's not because I'm anybody special. We're all ordinary, extraordinary, amazing beings, but we're all the same ordinary, put our pants on the same way. So there's nothing special about me. Is that I learned it and I figured it out. I applied it. And like you said, I tried to get parking spots and oops, didn't work. So okay, what am I doing? Tried to track the guy and that's not working. So you have to practice, and that practice, makes you masterful.
Yes.
So
that's the word. That's the word, practice. It is
it is
a practice.
And to the point that it needs to be ingrained in your everyday life. It's something that you're doing on a daily basis. I think part of the frustration for some people is they believe, well, I just have to think happy thoughts, right? And it's just going to come to me, and it needs to be much deeper than that, as you said.
Well, yeah, and there's a big myth out there with law of attraction that it's like just think positive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, positive thinking is a great way of moving about life. However, the power of positive thinking, and even in Think and Grow Rich, one common characteristic that all of them that were studied, had was that they were positive thinkers. Well, the thing is that people are trying to put the cart before the horse, and I'm so mad right now, but you know what? I'm just going to think positive, and everything's just going to be great. I mean, it's just really going to be fantastic. I'm positive that even though I'm scared to death right now, I'm going to be able to, get that job. It just doesn't work. You can't lie to the universe. The universe doesn't focus on words. It's a vibratory universe. The universe responds and reacts to the vibrations that we're giving out, to the energy that we give out. So when you think positively and you try and you like throw affirmations on top of, like the seething anger that you have, it just doesn't work. And that's why people are like, affirmations don't work. Affirmations are very useful if you know how to use them in the proper way. But that's just it, is that we think, okay, I'll just think positive and then, everything's going to be okay. And two of my favorite teachers have a really great analogy about this. One of them is Karen Lamarck Wilson. She's amazing. She's been just really a big, huge difference in my life and teaching me about, energy and things like that. And she has a energy mastery course. She's just really fantastic. She says that it's like having a pile of poop and then putting whipped cream on it. It's like underneath there's still poop, right? It's like it's still the same thing. And so it's like we can't fool the universe. And then, Abraham Hicks has a great analogy. They say it's like driving in your car and you're driving down the road and all of a sudden you notice that your gas gauge goes all the way to empty. Well, some people think, well, I'll just put a happy face sticker on the gas gauge. It's like you're still going to run out of gas. So, we have to address what's coming up for us in our lives, because the beauty about working with the universal laws is that the moment you set an intention that's higher than the vibration that you're currently in, hold on to your seat, because stuff's going to come up to be cleared. There's going to be beliefs that you're going to bump up against, and that's the moment, not to go digging into the past forever for years of psychoanalyzing, your childhood and every rotten thing that ever happened to you. It's not about that. It's about, when something you really want is not showing up, and you're practicing, and it's like pay attention to your energy and pay attention to the thoughts behind the energy and pay attention to the beliefs that actually create the thoughts. When you go deep like that, then you can shift, because everything's energy. So even an old belief, if you're believing that, God, life is just hard, that's fun. That's a fun, empowering belief that's going to, put out a lot of positive energy. I caught myself saying that a month ago. Literally, I heard myself in my head say life is hard and went, oh my God, I just laughed at myself. Because I'm like, your life is so easy. So it was like that was still there in the back of the old tapes. And, it was a moment for me to go, okay, wow, let me get into that pocket of negative energy, feel that, and spread that, let me blow that picture that life really is easy. It doesn't have to be hard. And in that moment, it's like the old energy yields to the new energy. And that's when the shifts happen. And that's when energetically we are different. And therefore, our outer reality, what is reflected back at us, is shifted as well.
When you actually set an intention with your heart, when it's sincere, when there is a sincere desire to take that step up, the universe will actually bring circumstances to you that will accelerate it, that will actually evoke the energy that needs to be released. It actually assists in the process. That happens to a lot of people. I started my intention and everything went to hell in a handbasket. Well, the circumstances are bringing you to this. I mean, they are the blessing. This is how this energy gets released, and it's not always pleasant. Matter of fact, there's always a period of instability. If I've been functioning at this level perfectly, and I want to get over to this level, I have to destabilize where I am in order to be able to make the move. I mean, it's kind of like a gyroscope. You bang it around and it just keeps going back to the same place. Like those dummies you hit and they just come back up again, right? You
Good
have
visual. Yeah.
you have to it has to become destabilized. There has to be a conviction, I'm not going back there. I am moving forward. And it forces the entire system to kind of let go of this position and begin to organize itself around the higher level so that all of you goes with. It isn't just you. I call it putting lipstick on the pig. It's not the whole the it's not just your mind out there leading with the rest of you fighting it like crazy. You are actually leading the entire system to function at a new level, so that you're not just kind of struggling to maintain a vibration. It's actually the character of your life, which means it's effortless, which means your entire life begins to reflect that new level, and all the things begin to come to you. Even if what you asked for came to you, and you weren't ready to receive it, you wouldn't see it.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it wouldn't even get close to you. You'd deflect it long before it arrived. So there really is a need for this inner congruity. You know, to me, this is, law of attraction is a spiritual law. It's a development of character. It's a freeing, a liberation of the entire system from all this stuff. Like, you've been practicing this forever, and all of a sudden this thought, life is hard, comes up. I mean, it's almost like being mesmerized, right? I mean, these things these energies are still stuck there. And you just like, oh, wow, there it is. Thank you for showing me that. You just like open up and say, okay, you're free to go now.
Yeah, absolutely. But I love what you said. It's like you have to move with the intention. You have to, and so many people, I love the law of attraction for this, because so many people think, well, I want to, attract a soulmate, and then they think, oh, attract it with work with law of attraction. So they come into this understanding of this spiritual truth, through wanting something, through desiring something, whatever it is. It could be something like a car or a new job or more money or, whatever it is. And then when you really get seeped in the truth of it, you start to, that's what happened with me. It's like, I want the outside stuff. I need a new job. I'm $60,000 in debt. I need money. I need to get out of debt, And I came to it, though, from a deeper understanding of who I am as a being now, and the nature of the universe that we live in, how abundant it is, and how unlimited, and truly, like, those things outside of us that we attach, like, the definition of what success is. When you really get into this information and start practicing, you know who you are at a bigger level. And then even going deeper, it's like, not that there's deeper at a higher level, but, like you go within yourself as a human being and know yourself enough that you know the energy that you are creating, that you're sending out deliberately. And it's really juicy, because then you set an intention, and then you can go, you can energetically go to that place, become who you've already set out to become. And when you resist it, that's when there's fear and negative emotion and any type of resistance. When you're not willing to go there energetically, there's like a wall, a block. Mm-hmm. And then that's the revealing point of, this is what's up for you. And in order to move into that space energetically and start feeling like you're more abundant, or feeling that you're with that partner, or feeling that you're, whatever it is, you work on the stuff that's blocking you.
That, the point you made is really beautiful, because I kind of started. I had a miserable childhood, and I started down this path because I was just suffering so much. I just wanted to alleviate the suffering, and little by little, the utter beauty of it, the vastness of it, the how different it was than how I thought life actually was, just so absorbed me that I just stopped caring about all the stuff. I just got so enamored, just so fell in love with the mystery of how things are, and the wonder that things are in their actual nature benevolent, that it just kind of completely absorbed my heart. It became a spiritual quest rather than a quest for success, and the other stuff came, but it is, and I think that is actually happening to a lot of people. I think that's actually the calling for many people. It comes in through the side door of meeting a need, but the ultimate calling, that's not what we're being called to. We're being called to discover exactly how magnificent the universe is and our magnificent role within it.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think a sense of longing that you want to fit into the universe, right, in a way that's meaningful.
Yeah, I mean, the longing for the new car or the money and everything, it's great. But what it really is a longing to be yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and it's also, too, it's like we always want something. I don't care what it was. I was just telling my husband, I was telling my husband the other day, it's like, people think that I'm going to gab this, and this, and I'm never forever going to, want to create something again. It's like we are creators. We come from the Creator. And I remember, when I was single, I wanted a man. I found the man. Then it's like, okay, now we want our own home. Then we got the home. Then it's like, let's pop out a kid. Then we got a kid, and it's like, hey, let's do it again. So we got another kid, and it's like, now we need a bigger house. So it's like, the wants, the desires, they always continue. And like you said, it's like even being not disconnected, but being not attached to those type of things, but knowing that it's like everything that we want to create is because we think that thing is going to make us feel better somehow, some way. We're going to finally feel that sense of joy. We're going to finally feel that sense of connection, that love, that abundance, whatever it is. And it's like our society is what we've been trained is so backwards because we've all been searching outside of ourselves to feel better, in this moment, when really it's the manifestation is truly the joy that we feel or the happiness or the abundance. And then, like you said, all that other stuff comes. It just naturally, organically just comes because we've become so attractive to all that. We become like a magnet to those things that, we ultimately wanted and now don't matter because we already have the feeling and the essence of what we wanted in the first place.
Well, the entire relationship shifts. I mean, desires are part of life. They go on and on and on. Life is nothing but desire. Desire stops, life stops. But what happens is we stop. The things come, but they don't come because of they don't come as the source of our happiness anymore. They come as the expression of it.
Yes.
The same things, but they're being generated from the inside. They're not actually being acquired from the outside. I actually prefer the term law of reflection over law of attraction. I think it's actually closer to the truth. That when you discover that the inner resources are all within you, they are already within you, and you liberate them, the entire universe reflects it back at you.
That's it.
And then there's no need to attract anything because it's all inside. I can't attract anything that's already inside of me. I mean, can't get any closer.
That's true. That's very true. I love that.
Well, Christy, share with us what some of the universal laws are. And I know that you have said there are some myths out there around them. So talk to us a little bit about the universal laws and those myths that leave us sort of feeling frustrated.
Perfect. So, we kind of talked about one. We did talk about one, and that's just thinking, just think positive, right? So that's one of the myths, but we'll go back to that. So the I find the seven essential laws are, and they really kind of work like puzzle pieces. I like to think of it as, you're going into a kitchen to make a recipe, and you've got all the ingredients that you need, and you kind of leave out the vanilla or leave out the eggs. It's like it just doesn't. Make the kind of
doesn't
recipe.
Taste good.
Yeah, it just doesn't taste good. So it's like that's how I feel about it. It's like knowing about all these universal laws, and more importantly, how to apply them and work with them. You get your juicy cake or cupcakes or cookies or whatever it is you're desiring in life. So the first law is the law of attraction, which we just talked about. So basically, I like to think of it as what you send out comes back to you. It's like a boomerang. You are emitting energy, and what you're sending out is coming back in some type of form, in circumstance, situation, events, people, all that kind of stuff. So there's law of attraction. Then there's law of deliberate creation, and that's basically that we decide What are the thoughts I'm going to think? What are the beliefs that I'm going to, keep or get rid of? What is the feeling that I'm going to emit from my physical body? We are the energy generators, and so instead of just going along with what happens and letting our emotions be guided by the fact that we have money or don't have money, we have the partner, don't have the partner, we are the ones that deliberately decide how I'm going to feel, how I'm going to vibrate, and ultimately what I'm going to, bring back into my life, what I'm going to experience in my life. And then there's the law of allowing, which is really the law of no resistance. So when you're in a space of allowing, you're very expanded. It's kind of like a receiving type of feeling. You're receptive, you're open. And this law, has many layers and the depth, of course, but, it could be applied in three major ways. One is, are we allowing ourselves to be who we are? The authenticity of really who we are as a being, our personality, or are we judging or condemning ourselves, beating ourselves up? That's very disallowing, and it's very constricted energy versus a very expanded energy. And then there's, of course, the way we are with relationship with not only people, but everything. So, the relationships that we have, do we constantly want someone else to be different in order for us to be happy? Do we expect everybody to conform to what we believe to be true, or do we allow for that diversity in our lives? Do we allow people to be individuals? And, that sort of thing. So that's another thing that either expands us or constricts us, as we relate to people. And as I was mentioning very early on, everything in the universe has an energetic relationship with us. So are we allowing things to be as they are? Are we allowing the universe to decide the timing of when things come? Or, are we trying to control the universe, kind of police the universe and force things to happen and on our time and not the universe's time? So there's a lot of depth to the law of allowing, but it's really, if you feel expanded and good, you're allowing. If you feel constricted and bad, then you're disallowing. Then there's the fourth law, which is really my favorite law, and I feel like the law that brings all of it together is the law of sufficiency and abundance. And this is my favorite law because it's like so many of us have been trained in lack. And the truth is that the universe that the creator that we came from, the creator that we are, the being that we are, is pure abundance. And the universe that we live in, if you just look at nature, you can see the evidence of this abundance. Go on a starry night, you can't count the stars in the sky, or the blades of grass, or the, leaves on trees in a forest, or even, sand in the Sahara Desert. There's so much abundance in nature, and that's really the nature of our universe. And because we create from our beliefs, when we align our consciousness, our perceptions, our thoughts, just everything about, our reality in abundance, we see more abundance, through evidence of everything, whether it's money, the love that we have, the support, it just clients. It goes on and on. It's just an unlimited universe, and there's so many just options and choices and, variety. It's really quite amazing, but it's such a field of abundance. And the entry point into this law is that you have to at least be satisfied. It's called the law of sufficiency and abundance. So it has to at least be sufficient. So before you can know abundance, you have to at least be coming from a place of it's not lacking in some way. So where I'm at right now, even though it's not exactly what I'm, over the moon excited about, it's enough for now. And then that's the doorway, the entry point to be able to open up to that field of abundance. But if you're not at least satisfied, you can't even touch that space.
Because the reality it is enough for now.
Yes.
We make up the way it's supposed to be right now. But one of my favorite teachers, Bob Edmondson, he wrote a book called "What's Wrong with Right Now If You Don't Think About It." It's like, well, of course. Why don't we assume that right now is exactly the way it's supposed to be, and the next moment is going to be perfect as well, rather than constantly trying to grab for something as if this moment wasn't enough, and the next one would be. It sends out the signal of not enough so loud and clear that it's no wonder we get in this endless cycle of always being dissatisfied. And when you talk about the universe being abundant and constant, and I don't know if you're aware of the back in the early 2000s, they did an experiment with the Hubble telescope, and they pointed it at a little piece of the sky that they believed to be empty. And this is a big deal because, getting time on the Hubble telescope is a really big deal. And for 9 days, they aimed it at this little piece of the sky. And now the size of the piece of the sky that they aimed it at, it was the equivalent of holding up a tennis ball at about 300 yards. That's how big the spot in the sky they were focusing on. Wow. They left it on for 9 days. And when they processed the images, they found 3,000 galaxies.
Wow.
So they did it again 3 years later. And this time they pointed it at another part of the sky for 11 days. And they found 10,000 galaxies.
Wow.
We are... The amount of we're not talking stars, we're talking galaxies, billions of stars in a galaxy. I mean, it is staggering, the magnitude of what is our home, if we regard it as such. There isn't any lack in this moment. There really isn't. Lack is an idea. It's a thought. It doesn't actually exist in nature. It's a total delusion. This moment is perfect. It is exactly the way it's supposed to be. How do I know it is? Because it's what's happening. I mean, what else is it? I mean, I assume everything's perfect. I mean, really.
Yeah. Well, so it's so funny. We're, as human beings, we're such meaning makers, right? We have to make everything mean something. And it's truly the meaning that we give something,
Yes. Yes. It's it is amazing. When you really think about it, lack is simply a concept. Because you could have two people in exactly the same circumstances, and one would think they're in hog heaven, and the other would be grumbling.
I've actually experienced that. I had the trippiest experience. When I was a child, I had a godmother that literally she is like a representation of a true angel in a human body. She's just a wonderful woman. And she, I would come over her house and she'd be like, "Oh, you're just this precious angel and you light up my life and you light up the room." And I mean, could not do any wrong in her eyes. And you know what? When I was in her presence, I felt like an angel. I was just pure love and light. I felt so good around her. I was funny. It was just like all of my best came out. And then I would go home, and my mom, and I love her very much, but my mom would call me a pain in the ass. And I would hear this story for years until several years ago I told my mom, "Can you please just stop? It does not feel good. You were such a pain in the ass as a baby. You never ate. You never slept. You never did what you were told. If I said up, you'd say down." And this is probably about 7 or 8 years ago, I was out to lunch with both mothers, my mother, my birth mother, and my godmother. And my godmother starts talking about me as a child, going, "Oh my gosh, she's just she would walk in the room and we would just smile, and she was just this precious being," and just would go on. And then within split second, my mom was like, she was a pain in the ass. Oh my God, she would always argue with me and blah, blah, blah. And I literally said to my mom and my godmother, I'm like, "Are you two talking about the same person?"
No.
It's all perspective.
Yes. No, they're not. They're not talking about the same person. It isn't. When you really see it, it becomes quite staggering. I mean, it really stops you in your tracks and can be a little bit disorienting to realize that, we're so convinced that the way we see things is the way things are. Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah.
You see things the way you think you see them, and nothing more than that.
Absolutely.
Which is why the law of attraction, as a law like that, which is why it is how it really works, because the shift in perception literally changes the universe. Not just kind of invites it to be different. I mean, it's different.
Yes.
It really is
Very,
different.
very different. Yes. I like to say I live in a completely different universe now than I did 19 years ago.
Yes.
It's a totally different world.
Yes,
for
it
me.
is.
And it's not just about the things that have manifested. You know what I mean? It's like my relationship literally with the universe is completely different. I'm a different person than I was back then. And I'm grateful, because so many people are suffering and they are pushing themselves and they're exhausted and they're overwhelmed and they're just hoping that something like law of attraction will work, and they're not going deep with it, and then they get more depressed and disappointed, and it really bums me out because it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, life can be really, really fun, and it is really fun, and it's amazing, and it's majestic, and it's awe-inspiring, and it's just wow. And I want more people to feel that,
That's right. I got my book of superlatives out now. Because you never run out when you get bit by the spirit of this thing. I mean, that's the reason I created the show, Law of Attraction 2.0, because it does work. It really is real. It is a benevolent universe. It is here to serve you. It isn't. It's here to manifest whatever it is that becomes truly meaningful to you. Whatever your heart is really reaching for, the universe is here to form itself into that. This is the relationship we have. This is our destiny. This is what we're here for. Mm-hmm. We humans are not the manifestors, in the sense we're not the ones that actually build the building. We're the architects. We are that facet of the universe which is capable of envisioning that which isn't here yet.
Yes.
That's our job. What a great job.
It's a fun job.
Yeah. Hey everybody, this is G. How successful would you be at playing a game if you had no idea what the rules were? How could you build a house without a set of plans, or bake a cake without a recipe? The 7 Essential Universal Laws ebook by Christy Whitman gives you the rules, map, plans, and recipe to create your ideal body, your ideal financial freedom, your ideal partner, and success in every area of your life. The keys to create anything and anyone by using the laws of the universe. To get your copy of the 7 Essential Universal Laws by Christy Whitman, visit loa20.com/Christy. That's CHRISTY.
So let's revisit the 7 Essential Laws. I know one of them is around money, Christy.
Well, what do you mean one of them is around money?
Isn't we're talking about turning on your money magnet?
Oh, well, that's just it. I mean, when you start to have a different energetic relationship, it's all energy first. When you have a different energetic relationship with money, then your money situation changes and you become magnetic to money, because so many people, we're conditioned, right? It's like we're planted we're a little seed planted in the environment, the soil of our mom and dads and our brothers and sisters and whatever environment we grew up in, right? And all of those people, those older people that somehow knew better than us when we were small, they had their own relationship and thoughts and, projections on money. And we picked up on those. We weren't sat in a chair and said, okay, money is bad. The people that have it are evil. Don't whatever those beliefs were, we picked them up. And we could see the relationship that our parents had with money. Bills come in, they get stressed. We don't have to be rocket scientists to figure out, especially when we're kids, we're so aware, we read energy really well, that, this thing called money is a problem. I try to push it away. I don't want to deal with this. I want to avoid it. These people that have it, those are the greedy people. These people that don't have any, those are, you don't want to be poor. So we have our whole projections on what it means to be rich and have money and abundance, and what it means to be poor, and what it means to be middle class. And we've got all this stuff that we were conditioned in. And so when you look at this simple thing that's a piece of paper that literally is a medium of exchange, one thing for another, we've got so much that just like gets projected on this thing called money. It's just green energy. That's all it is green energy. And when you can change your relationship, it's like take out a dollar bill or take out $100 bill and ask yourself, what do I think about you? How, do I like you? Am I wanting more of you? Am I like, yes, you're fun to play with. Let's go. Let's play. I want more of you because you're fun to spend. You're fun to donate. You're fun to give gifts for. It's fun to go on vacations. You're a blast. Come on in my life. That's a very attractive, relationship to anybody. It's like think of money in a situation like, and I'm not saying money is people, but think of like if your relationship with money was, think of money as a person. Would you have that person in your life for very long? Because a lot of times, we avoid it, we talk negative to it, we just roll our eyes at it, that, the energy that we send out about it, I don't think a person, if that was an actual human being, the way you treated your relationship with money would actually stick around. And that's what's happening is most people repel money away from them, from their disempowering beliefs, from their projections, instead of inviting it in. And, it's like when you really, again, we're talking about a shift in perception. People say, I hate this so much. It's like, I don't know where this came from, but to be spiritual, you can't have money. It's like, what? I mean, you can be so much, when you have money, money's an amplifier. If you're a spiritual, loving, giving person, that's going to allow you to be more giving and more, to give out there. Start a charity, make a difference in people's lives that, don't have the opportunity to, have whatever, whether it's food or medical or whatever it is. And, having money allows you to make a difference in other people's lives. I love having money because it allows me to be generous to those that I love. That's my favorite part of having money, is that I can, be just extravagant in what I give from my heart, and that it's just fun in doing that. And I love to give to charities, and I love to go shopping, and I love to take nice vacations, and, and I love making a difference. But it's like I invite money in because money's fun to play with. I don't make money my idol. But at the same time, it's like the relationship, and believe me, I've had to work on this because it wasn't always like this. My relationship that I have with money is respectful. I enjoy it. I invite it in. And because of that, I'm literally a magnet to money. And my husband was laughing at me the other day because I was walking barefoot in our closet, and all of a sudden I'm like, what is on my foot? And all of a sudden at the bottom of my foot was a dime. And I was like, hey, there's money. He goes, you really are a magnet to money.
Well, I think that's one of the biggest myths sometimes about money, is that if you are a spiritual person, if you're living the law of attraction, that you're not allowed to have money, that somehow you're seen as you're coveting money then. And that's one of the myths I want to be sure that we clear up tonight, is that it's okay to have money. It doesn't make you any kind of person. It just means that you're accepting of it.
Well, that's it. It's just, we're meaning makers, right? So we give meaning to what it means to have money, not have money, have too much, have too little. We've got all this stuff wrapped around it. And the beauty of it is that, we can kind of take out money and look at it and just say, how do I feel about you? And what are my thoughts? Start paying attention. What are your thoughts around it? And when you start cleaning that up, you find out that, money kind of hangs out a little bit more around you. And for us to say, money doesn't matter, money can't bring you happiness. I mean, there's a lot of people that have a lot of money and still aren't happy. But if you're a person that knows how to work with your own energy, find and create your own joy, and then you have money, it sure makes life fun, because you can go, wow, let's be creative. Let's go on this vacation. Let's do this, let's whatever it is. And, hey, let's pay the bills. I mean, kind of need money to buy food, put a roof over your head. I mean, there's there's a certain degree of this medium of exchange that we do need to be able to have a telephone and, all these, make a difference, have an internet show or whatever it is to be able to, put yourself out there and really give the value that you came to give, because each and every one of us have value. And it's like, allow yourself to, I train coaches, and that's the biggest thing I see with coaches, that they can earn money at a job, but when they start coaching people, it's like really finding that value within themselves. It feels like, I'm value enough, and what I'm offering as a service is valuable enough that I can actually have something exchanged in return called this thing called money. And there's so many deserving issues around it. It's just really...
Well, it really does. It really does start with the self-acceptance, to me, and an appreciation of your own value. And one of the big blocks to money is: do you have permission to want what you want and to have it? And for me, my personal experience was just an enormously difficult time, even admitting to myself the things that I wanted. And that was just a result of, me as a kid. It didn't matter what it was. It was denied me. If I wanted it, I was wrong. And so I was taught to always hide what I desired, to always belittle what I desired, to disown what I desired. So the first step was to actually to be honest about it. Yes, everything in me tells me this is horrible. Guess what? I really do want it. Then I realized that, I wasn't wanting to just, kill dolphins for sport. I didn't want, I wasn't out to leave a huge carbon footprint because I was completely a sociopath. But those are the kind of thoughts, you give into your desires, this is who you're going to become. But when you really begin to honor the stuff that you really want, they begin to be released, and they also begin to get pure. They become less and less about the ego, less about merely about survival, and they actually become part of this beautiful energy of self-expression. And the end result is that you value your desires, you value other people's desires, and you begin to see the connection between what you have to give and what other people need to get.
Yes.
And suddenly, I have a gift worth offering, and it's got value, and they value it enough that they want to give me of their abundance. If this was 150 years ago, we'd be trading tables for chickens or something, right? But that's all it is. It's just this incredibly this kind of generic thing that allows you to not have to always be trading chickens for ducks, right? That I can get something from you. I'm going to give you the ducks, and I can take the money and I can go over and buy a set of socket wrenches.
Yeah.
Right? It really is just a generalization, and so I think whatever you feel about money is probably what you feel about yourself. And I'd love, Christy, if you would just kind of throw out a little hint of how somebody could just begin to explore this. I like the idea of actually taking a piece of money in your hand and just holding it and see what it feels like. But maybe you got a tip of how somebody could begin to actually explore some of this deeper territory to release some of the energy that we have around it that's just pure imagination.
Absolutely. I got a great process. So take out some money. It could be $1, it could be, $100. Take out this, just whatever represents money to you. It could be coins, whatever. And just look at it and ask yourself, what is the feeling? Like pay attention to the energy I'm giving out to it. And if you start to pay attention to it a little bit, natural thoughts will start coming, like, God, I wish I had more of you. And it's like this desperate, or seizure fun, it's like you guys, you get to see, like, what are the natural thoughts that come up, and then write on a piece of paper, like, as you're looking at this dollar bill or whatever amount of money, ask yourself, what did my mom feel about money? What did she say about people that were wealthy? What did she say about people that were poor? What was the general feeling sense in my household about money? And then go to your dad. What did dad say about people that had money? How did dad feel about money? And, did mom and dad fight a lot about? Because, was this a big conflict point in their marriage? Because that's, a big thing that a lot of people fight about is money. So it's like, what comes up for this for you? And then finally, look at if you were a small child, or if a small child was observing you and the way you are with money, what would that small child think? What would that small child perceive of you?
Wow. Well, I like that last one, boy. That really moved me. No, really. What would be the impression? What would be the truth you would be teaching them?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that gets me.
Yeah, because right now I have a 3 and a 4-year-old, and they watch this thing called money, and I've been since they were very small, explaining to them that money is awesome. Money allows you to buy food. Money allows you to give to people that don't have coats in the winter. Money allows you to buy this toy. Money allows you to have this heat during the winter. I mean, there's a lot of things that money provides, and you get money by giving value. And like when they'd see me go up to an ATM, it's like, Mommy did something of value. I received the money, and I put it in this big thing called an ATM, right? So it's not like that. They just see, because so many kids just see their parents drive up to an ATM, put it in, and it's like, oh,
Oh, that's
just
where
put in a credit card thingy and money comes out. I mean, to them, it's like this big, like, not talked about concept of like, whoa, okay, so I just need to get myself one of those credit card things and put it into the, they don't understand.
Yeah.
And money is such a mystery for so many of us as young kids because, I mean, I don't know what it was like in your family, but my parents didn't talk about it openly. They didn't, educate me really on anything. They weren't educated on it themselves. I know they always wanted more than they had, and they were really jealous of the people that had more than they had, and never were, happy and appreciative for the money they did have. I know that, so I certainly picked that up, and it was a tension point. It was a conflict point for both my parents. And, many fights in the family were because of this thing called money. So I really had to get had to come into Jesus meeting, with money. Do I want to continue to have these disempowering beliefs and perceptions about money, or do I want to clean the slate and have my own ideas and thoughts about money and have a new relationship with this thing called money?
Beautiful.
That's great. That was such a great exercise that you shared with us, Christy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're getting to the end of our time together. We have just a few minutes left for you to wrap things up. Christy, I'd like to thank you for being our guest this evening.
Well, before we do that, if Christy wants to, how can they learn more about you, Christy?
Well, you can go to ChristyWhitman.com, and it's Christy, Christy, and Whitman is Whitman, so ChristyWhitman.com. And if you put in your name and your email, you automatically get 7 free videos. They're just 5 to 8 minute videos on each and every universal law. So you can really go deeper with each individual law and how to apply it in your life. And you'll be able to, get access to my weekly show that I do. It's an internet show. So again, 5-minute shows every Monday that come out to just help you jumpstart your week on, really diving deeper with the law of attraction, all the universal laws really, so that you can really deliberately create the life that you want.
That's Christy Whitman's Magnetic Monday. I know because I get it every Monday. I get to see her shining face, and she is. I agree with your grandmother. She's an angel. Yeah.
Thanks.
Definitely an angel. Well, you know what? God, we've really kind of said it all tonight. The thing I'd like to do to kind of wrap it up is, I know there's been a lot of people who have tried using metaphysics and all sorts of different techniques to attempt to, improve their life. If you haven't been successful, it's not so much the fault of the techniques. It's definitely not your fault. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not hopelessly defective. But oftentimes, the things that are keeping us, that are standing between us and the life we really want to have, are so deeply ingrained in our nervous system that we don't even know they're there. As a matter of fact, we often actually think it's the way we are. The early training we got about money, about love, about success, about what's possible, about what you deserve, most of it got instilled before we could talk, let alone think. It was instilled before there was any ability whatsoever for you to say, wow, that's not a very good idea. I don't think I want to agree with that. It was simply instilled as the truth. So much of this stuff is acting in your life as if if it is the truth. And the only reason it's still acting is because you haven't recognized it yet. The need is extremely important to be willing to really question and to consciously make efforts to discover these very deeply hidden energetic patterns. I call them energetic assumptions that are operating the system. When you do the exercise that Christy recommended, when you actually hold the money in your hand and let yourself feel how you react to it. Don't just think about it, because we all got thoughts, right? Thoughts are way later. You don't actually start thinking logically till you're 7 years old. Right. So thoughts and our explanations and our stories and our concepts and our abstractions about all this stuff come way, way later. Right? They're very far removed from what's really going on. But if you actually hold it, just put it in your hand, hold it, touch it, and let your body react to it, you're going to feel how receptive you are to it or how repulsed you are by it. And don't be afraid of that. If you're repulsed, don't immediately start trying to put lipstick on the pig. Don't immediately go, smiley face, right? But turn towards that feeling of repulsion. And honestly and gently and with enormous amount of compassion to yourself, and ask, oh, I feel a repulsion towards this. What is this about? And let the story unfold from the inside. Your nervous system knows exactly what happened. It knows exactly why it got into the pattern that it did. And it knows exactly how to release it if you let it. But the only way it can do that is if you are with it fully. If you actually allow it to feel what it's feeling and allow it to show you the entire picture of what it's feeling. You don't restrict it by trying to make it feel something other than what it is, which is exactly the behavior that gave us all the problems in the first place. Instead, if you allow it to just react in its normal way and move deeper into it, it will eventually guide you right to the point of release. I swear to God, it's that smart. It will take you to where you need to get to in order to release it, because that's what it wants to do, and that's what it was designed to do. So please do listen to this lady. do take this seriously. Stop beating yourself up. It isn't about that. This stuff is just in us very deeply. Here she's been practicing this for 18 years, and she says, oh, life is so hard. If there wasn't the conscious awareness of it, she might have gone along with that thought for a while and experienced the repercussions of it. But she's learned to be vigilant and uncriticizing of herself. Didn't beat herself up for having the thought. She said, oh, wow, look at that, still there. Okay, I want you to follow that model, and it will lead you to freedom. I guarantee it.
Christy, it was great having you on the show this evening, and I know we just got an opportunity to scratch the surface, so I hope you'll consider coming back next year, spending some more time with us, teaching us some more about really being accepting about the law of attraction.
Would love to, anytime. Thank you so much.
Great. Well, thank you to all of you who tuned in tonight to listen to the Law of Attraction 2.0 Spiritual Straight Talk. Please join us next week, and remember to send your questions ahead of time, or if you just want to join the conversation, go to questions@loa20.com. And if you want to find out more information about Christy, you can go to loa20.com, go to our guest page, and click on her photo there, and you'll have the opportunity to learn some more information about Christy and go to links to her website for additional products. Thank you again, Christy, for being our guest, and thank you to all of our listeners. We hope you'll join us next week for more Straight Talk. Good night.